Someone smiles, says exactly the right thing, makes you feel special, and a few weeks later you look up and realize you've agreed to something you never wanted, defended someone who treated you badly, or handed over trust you can't get back. You're not stupid, you're not weak, and yet you got played. Manipulation doesn't work by overpowering your logic. It works by quietly slipping underneath it, pulling on the oldest levers in your mind before your reasoning ever gets a vote. So why do we fall for it, even when part of us senses something is off? The answer is that manipulation isn't an attack on your intelligence. It's an exploit of your instincts, and understanding exactly how it works is the single best protection you have. Start with the most important idea. Your brain runs most of the time on fast, automatic shortcuts, not slow, careful analysis. These shortcuts usually serve you well. They let you navigate a complex world without exhausting yourself. But a skilled manipulator, consciously or not, learns to trigger those shortcuts on purpose so that you react before you think. The manipulation lands in the gap between the automatic response and the reasoned one. That's why afterward, you can see the trick clearly, but in the moment, you couldn't. You weren't reasoning. You were reacting exactly as designed. Consider one of the most powerful levers, the rule of reciprocity. Deep in our social wiring is the sense that when someone gives us something, we owe them in return. It kept early human groups cooperative and alive, but it can be weaponized. Someone does you a small, unrequested favor, offers a gift, a compliment, a concession, and suddenly you feel a pull to give back, to say yes, to not disappoint them. The favor was never really a gift. It was a hook, and the discomfort of feeling indebted pushes you to comply with something far larger than what you received. Then there's liking. We say yes to people we like, and manipulators are experts at manufacturing that liking fast. They find things in common with you, real or invented. They flatter you in ways that feel specific and sincere. They mirror your body language and your words. Your brain reads all of this as, this person is like me, this person is safe, this person is a friend, and it lowers its guard. The warmth feels genuine because the signals your brain uses to detect genuine warmth are exactly the signals being performed. Another lever is authority. We're trained from childhood to defer to those who seem to be in charge, experts, officials, confident people who act like they know. This deference is often useful, but it means a manipulator only has to look the part, to project certainty and status, and a part of you stops questioning. The confidence itself becomes the credential, even when there's nothing real behind it. Social proof works the same way. When we're unsure, we look to what others are doing and assume they know something we don't. A manipulator only has to suggest that everyone is doing this, that lots of people already agreed, that you'd be the odd one out, and the fear of being left behind does the rest. You stop asking whether the thing is right and start feeling that it must be, because look how many others are already there. Scarcity is the lever that bypasses patience entirely. The moment something feels limited, running out, available only now, only to you, the brain floods with urgency, and the fear of missing out overrides careful judgment. Manipulators manufacture false deadlines and artificial rarity precisely to stop you from doing the one thing that would protect you, taking your time. And then there is the emotional core of it all. The most effective manipulation works by putting you into a heightened emotional state: fear, guilt, excitement, flattery, anger, because strong emotion shrinks your capacity for careful thought. When you're flooded with feeling, the reflective part of your brain quiets down and the reactive part takes over. This is why manipulators create urgency, provoke insecurity, or make you feel wonderful, then ask for what they want, while you're still swept up. The request rides in on the wave of the emotion. Some of the darker patterns take longer and cut deeper. There's the slow erosion where someone makes you doubt your own memory and perception, insisting things didn't happen the way you know they did, until you stop trusting yourself and start trusting them instead. There's the person who showers you with intensity and affection early, so fast and so strong that you're bonded before you've had time to see who they actually are. There's the constant, subtle guilt, the sense that you're always somehow letting them down, that keeps you working to earn back an approval that's deliberately kept just out of reach. In each case, the mechanism is the same: your natural, healthy instincts to reciprocate, to trust, to belong, to avoid conflict, are turned into strings, and someone else is pulling them. Here's why none of this makes you a fool. Every one of these levers exists because it's usually good: reciprocity, trust, deference to real expertise, learning from the group, responding to genuine scarcity, feeling your emotions. These are the very things that make us functional, cooperative, human. You can't simply delete them, and you wouldn't want to. Manipulation is parasitic. It survives by imitating the signals of the good things, so that shutting it out completely would mean shutting out connection itself. That's the cruel bind. The openness that lets you be loved is the same openness that lets you be used. So what protects you? The first defense is simply knowing the levers exist, because manipulation works best in the dark. Once you can name reciprocity, false authority, manufactured scarcity, and emotional flooding, you start to feel them as they happen, and that recognition alone breaks the spell. The trick you can see coming has already lost most of its power. The second defense is to slow down. Nearly every manipulation depends on speed, on getting you to decide while you're still reacting. So the most powerful move is almost embarrassingly simple. Refuse to decide in the moment. Buy time. Say, "Let me think about it," and get back to you. Step out of the emotional field. Sleep on it. Talk to someone outside the situation. Manipulation rarely survives daylight and distance. The urgency you feel is usually the manipulation itself, and the simple act of waiting dissolves it. The third defense is to watch your own feelings as data. When you notice a sudden, intense pull to say yes, to prove yourself, to not disappoint, to grab it before it's gone, treat that surge as a signal to pause, not to act. Ask, why am I feeling this so strongly, so fast? Whose interest does this urgency serve? The feeling isn't necessarily wrong, but its intensity is worth questioning, because manufactured emotion is the manipulator's main tool. And there's a quieter protection in simply trusting your own unease. Often, before you can explain it, a part of you senses that something is off, that the warmth is a little too quick, the pressure a little too high, the story a little too smooth. We frequently override that instinct because we don't want to be rude or paranoid or wrong about someone, but that low hum of doubt is your pattern detector doing its job. You don't have to accuse anyone, you just have to slow down and let the feeling be a reason to look closer. So the next time you feel yourself being swept toward a yes you're not sure you mean, pulled by a favor, a flattery, a deadline, a wave of feeling, stop and recognize what might be happening. An old, trusting instinct is being played like an instrument. You're not being weak. You're being human in exactly the way that usually serves you. The goal isn't to become cold or suspicious of everyone. It's to keep your warmth and add a pause, so that the openness that lets the right people in no longer lets the wrong ones use you. See the levers, slow the moment down, and the strings go slack in your hands.